to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? It is the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, also presented by Play Alberta. Huss will be joining us in a little bit. Dusty will be back on Monday. So Matt Wannick with you again here live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Please, if you could, hit that like button on YouTube, hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well. But also, we need to push this a lot harder on Edmonton Sports Talk. I would love if you could subscribe to not just this show, The Lock Shop, but any of our ESD shows, wherever you get your podcasts. It would be greatly appreciated. Today on The Lock Shop, lots to get to. I need to get Huss's reaction to the big day out in Winnipeg with, he talked about the end of yesterday's show at the very least. Connor Hellebuck, Hart Vezina winner. But also the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Huss thought the Bombers were going to win that game, but I don't think many others were fully on board outside of Winnipeg, especially after what the BC Lions did to the Elks on Saturday, how good they looked. The Lions dominated that football game. So we'll talk about that. We will obviously talk some Stanley Cup finals with Huss, or final, I should say, with Huss as the Oilers. They tie the series up at 2 games apiece. It shifts here to Edmonton tomorrow night down at Rogers Place. Maybe we'll get into a little bit of NBA finals as well as U.S. Open. Second round action is underway. I've thrown it up on my screen. JJ Spawn, who was the leader yesterday at 4 under par, he has yet to tee off. He should be teeing off. Oh, he's still got a bit of time till he tees off. Sam Burns, he's gone 5 under today. He is now a shot back of JJ Spawn. Your top Canadian right now, it is Taylor Pendrith. He's 2 over par. He's tied for 17th at 2 over. He's going to be teeing off in a little bit as well. And I know Rory McIlroy, he's about to tee off as well. He's at +4. The cut line for this weekend right now is +4. It's why I love the U.S. Open. It's these tough scores, but we'll see what JJ Spawn could do a little bit later, but we'll get into some U.S. Open with Huss as well. Need to remind you on the promo codes for the month of June with Play Alberta and Edmonton Sports Talk. Be sure to download the app today or head to the playalberta.ca. All the money, it stays within our province, so jump on board with Play Alberta. If you go to EST Specials, we've got a few specials already up there. I'll get to those right away here, but the promo codes for this month, if you haven't used them yet, EST Casino for a $50 free casino credit when you deposit 20 or more. EST Sports, when you deposit 20 or more, you'll get a $50 free bet, or YEG50. When you deposit 5 or more, you'll also get a $50 free sports bet. And my $50 free sports bet on that one fell yesterday because I had the Lions -2 along with the Owls +100, and boop, nope, Lions screwed it up for me. I should have just jumped in on the Owls with that one, but I got a little greedy, I guess. But -2, really? Again, we'll get with that with Huss. Right now, up at EST Specials. If you go to Play Alberta, you open up the app, it'll just say EST Specials. Click it. The Lock Shop Partner Parlay from yesterday is still up. We had the Owls to win by 6 or more. The Stamps to win, plus the Rough Riders and Ticats game being over the 50.5. That's at +580. Dusty's early bird bet of the day, it's +320. It's the Oilers to win game 5. McDavid to have 2+ points. Draisaitl with a goal or more. That's +320. And his play of the day is McDavid having a goal tomorrow. That's +140. Jay's play of the day, it's up there. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You could either go to Play Alberta and spoil it for yourself, or stay tuned to the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Mill later today, and they will get into Jay's play of the day. Are we getting a Gold Cup preview from you, Maddie? Ducktad, I could maybe do a slight Gold Cup preview. I forgot it was starting so quickly. I thought it used to start a little bit closer to July. I was hoping maybe to fly out to Vancouver to go watch one of those games, but it's now game 6. Oilers and Panthers. So I won't be going out to Vancouver. Or Canada will be starting their first match -303. No Alphonso Davies, but a lot of good players playing for Canada at the Gold Cup. I believe you'll be able to watch that on TSN, by the way. This is really for those that just want to know when it comes to the Gold Cup. This is really the last real quality competition that Canada will be in before next year's World Cup, which begins June 11th, I believe it gets going. next year. I think that's when the World Cup kicks off. Canada's first match, I think it's June 12th. So now we are less than a year away from the World Cup going. There are some friendlies coming up for this country later on, but they're not worth 3 points. They're not worth advancing in a competition. It's always a little different. So the Gold Cup, it is going to be a big moment for Canada and Jesse Marsh to get the final preparation in, if you will, for the World Cup next year. So maybe I'll look a little closer to the Gold Cup a little bit later. Outright winners, Canada plus 550. I don't mind it. Let's start by saying that right off the bat. Seeing Canada winning at 550. The U.S. is in a mess right now. No Christian Pulisic. They're plus 190. And Mexico's plus 175. I think the big thing with the Gold Cup is they always rig this. And legitimately, I'm going to say they rigged this so that Canada or U.S. and Mexico will meet in the finals. They always put them in certain areas so that there is no way that they could ever meet in the semifinals, because heaven forbid that they have to meet in the semis as opposed to the finals. I think if I am correct on this, it's the same type of way. So at one point, it's either they're going to have to be both teams to go and win this. They're good. They've just beat the Americans this year. I do think we're good enough to go beat the Mexicans. So maybe I'll look at that a little bit later on in the show today. Let's bring him in. It is Huss. He was at Princess Auto Field yesterday. Huss, we will get to the Cup final. But man, were you right on this Bombers team against the Lions. What was that atmosphere like? And what I'll just start. Chris Streveler was better than I was expecting. He was making some great plays. That opening drive was just precision. But defensively, man, those Bombers were outstanding. What was it like down at Princess Auto Field or Stadium? Princess Auto Stadium.
Great to talk to you. Yeah, it was a hell of a way to kick off a football season, I'll tell you that. Gorgeous night, sold out crowd. The Bombers as home dogs for only the third time in the last, I think it's 5 years or something like that. And I listened to a lot of questions about the team going in. We knew what BC looked like against the Elks. We didn't know what the Bombers were going to look like without Zach Caleros, their starting quarterback. And I'm with you. You got to start off on the defensive side of the football. The pressure that they got on Rourke early. I mean, he started off 1 for 10 with a pick. And that really allowed the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to sort of establish themselves. And you think that they did this without Zach Caleros and without Brady Oliveira for pretty much the entire game. Brady had that monster 43-yard run, played one more play after that, and then was lost for the game. And this Matthew Paterson, holy smokes. You know, we had Josh Frey-Sam of the Free Press on WST a couple weeks ago. And I was just asking him, like, hey, like, how's camp been? You know, like those kind of tell us what's happening at camp, who stood out questions. And he made a point of talking about Paterson, saying this guy has just popped in camp. And to the point where he said, you know, and it sounded insane at the time, you know, there will become a time where Brady will either be too expensive for the Blue Bombers or he might not have it. This guy seems like the guy that will be, and we're kind of like, okay, pump the brakes here a little bit. And then he does what he did last night in his first game as a Blue Bomber. It was phenomenal. And you mentioned the first drive, which was something. To me, the game turned on the 108-yard drive that the Bombers had. I mean, they started off on their 2-yard line after a gaff on the returns. And Chris Streveler, I mean, what can you say? Everyone says, we know we can run. We know he's tough as hell. Can he move the football through the air? Well, he did it last night. And yeah, it was an awesome night for Winnipeg football fans last night. And a bit of an announcement to the rest of the league that maybe the rumors of the demise of the 5-time defending West champs have been exaggerated.
Yeah, it was like I saw what BC did to Edmonton, obviously firsthand. Well, you know, watching it closely, you know, covering the Elks game. And I will say, like, the Bombers' defensive line was just making that Lions O-line look like Swiss cheese almost, if you will. And part of this, like, maybe some of this does come to the Lions had a short week. But it's also, you can look at the Bombers could be coming in rusty. That's the other thing. Everyone has played one game. The Bombers haven't played. And like that opening drive was 4 plays, 80 yards. Like Nick Dembski, to me, maybe didn't have his best year last year. Like he seemed a little off. He looked fantastic last night. He was getting open, and like I've never been fully sold on Strevler passing the ball, and I've always looked at him. He's that running guy type thing. But yesterday, he only had 2 runs. Like he was rolling out, and instead of running with the ball, he was finding his open guy. He was hitting him. The BC Lions defense just had no answers for what they were coming out with in the Bombers. And then Matthew Paterson, like a local product here, from U of A, Golden Bear. I remember going to watch a couple of his games at Fulfield. I'm like, this kid, he's really good. I went to picture that his first Canadian Football League game, though, he would jump in for an injured Brady Oliveira and rush for 130 yards and 23 carries, including a touchdown. Like he was absolutely incredible. And then the other guy, which you did throw out on the Lock Shop last week to me when we were talking about the Bombers and, Dylan Mitchell, disappointment maybe coming into camp, though. Ontario Wilson heading off to the Jets, Kenny Lawler going to Hamilton, and you went with Wheatfall. Like, keep an eye on this guy. And what a game for him yesterday. A couple really big catches at 69 yak yards for him yesterday in his 127 yards. He caught the ball, made some really big plays. To me, that was a real statement from the Bombers where I'll put my hand up. I was one of those thinking, like, I think the Bombers will compete for the West, but maybe this is the year the Riders take it. My mind changes after that one because it's clear that within Winnipeg and the Blue Bombers organization, they know they're hosting the Grey Cup, and they're upset about the 3 straight losses in the Grey Cup, and they've put the league on notice going, no, we're coming for this one, and we're going for another 6 straight Grey Cup appearance and try to stop us.
The Bombers are still the Bombers.
Yeah.
That is what we learned last night. And I think we can safely say that the West goes through Winnipeg until further notice. So
Yes.
Ric Flair had the famous saying, to be the man, you got to beat the man. I think there was a woo in there as well. But listen, the Bombers are still the man in the West right now. And
0-5 now, Nathan Rourke? 0-5, Nathan Rourke against the Bombers?
0-5 against the Bombers. 13-5 against everybody else. So, listen, they've got, and obviously that was the other big story in the game that he did not finish the game. He was out with some sort of, it looked like an oblique injury or something like that. Totally finished up the game. So a couple of pretty significant injuries, or at least injuries to very significant players in game 1 for the Bombers and game 2 for BC with Brady Oliveira being out. Just, you mentioned Wheatfall. This might be, Eric was texting me while you guys were doing the CFL fantasy draft. Yeah. He was trying to get some depth chart information as to, how are things shaping up? And I'm like, I think this Wheatfall guy is going to be in a good position to catch a lot of balls. So I think he jumped on it. By the way,
he didn't. He didn't take him. He didn't draft him. And I was down to my last pick, and I didn't know where to go. And the 2 guys on my board that I was looking at was an Kadeem Carey not signed or Wheatfall. Yep. And I went, I think I have to take Kadeem because he's going to sign somewhere, and maybe I could get Wheatfall later. And so I got Kadeem. He signs with the Riders. That's looking good. But now I feel like this week the waiver wire is going to be all on Wheatfall. And I hope I get him in the claims, but I feel like I had him too, and I just should have taken him.
Do you guys do, is it like the free agent budget or
No.
Is it just basically a draft or a claim order?
Claim order. So it's the standings. I'm 1-0. So kind of like, we'll see. If I win, I'm 2-0. So I'll be later in the order, but there's only 4 of us. Yeah. And it will be one of those after free agency. Then it's just a free for the rest of the week as well. But waivers is next Wednesday. So my claim will be going in relatively soon here to get ready for next Wednesday.
Hey, just quickly on Paterson. And listen, it's kind of funny. We're learning more about this young man here, but those of you in Edmonton, anyone that's paid attention to the Golden Bears programs knows all about him. 5 years with U of A, had over 3,000 yards rushing. And, he did have a 1,300-yard season in 2023, in just 10 games. But what's interesting about this, and credit to the Bombers, they did not have the rights. He was picked by Hamilton. And if you recall, there was a trade at the global draft this year where the Bombers got Paterson, the second overall pick in the global draft, and the 39th pick in the draft in exchange for Canadian defensive lineman Kyle Sampson, the 8th overall pick in the global draft, and the 36th overall pick in the CFL draft. And I mean, listen, trades like this, you kind of see how things shake out with the picks. I mean, I think it's already a home run after one game for Winnipeg. So a shout out to the Golden Bears program for getting a good one to the league.
Any update on Brady? Like, was there anything after the game or just pretty tight-lipped right now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's some sort of a shoulder issue. I mean, that's certainly what it seemed like from last night. We thought that we would hear during the game, and then they sort of couched it. So I think we'll have a further update, maybe even already this afternoon. So obviously we'll hit up on that on WST. How was that? Like, I just got to ask you guys, what's the vibe like amongst the Nasties today after, I mean, a historic win? I mean, my only regret last night is that, we had a great time at the football game, but I came back and watched the abbreviated game afterwards. That was a special team right now, and I imagine everyone could not be in better spirits heading into the weekend after what we saw last night.
People are feeling really good. They were not feeling that way at about 7:00 last night when the team was down 3-0 going into the first intermission.
All-time night for freezing cold takes.
Oh, yeah.
All-time night for freezing cold takes.
Well, Dusty was calling it, and he texted our staff group chat just going like, how bad is this? And, they're done. It's over. What off-season might be coming tomorrow. And like, it was a lot of, and I think that's just how fans were just across the board, where it was like it looked terrible. And it's the Florida Panthers. Are you really going to come back from 3? But if there's one thing about the Edmonton Oilers is that whenever they fall down in a game, that's an easy money line play. As you get value on the Oilers having a deficit, they will claw back. They will come back on those. We saw it as early as the very first game of these playoffs with the Edmonton Oilers. They fell down 4, I believe it was, to the Kings, and they tied that hockey game. And then a little bit later, it was very quick that the Kings ultimately won that. But this team knows how to come back. And until that final buzzer goes, the game is never over when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. We've seen it just time and time again in these playoffs alone. Leon Draisaitl with, 3 overtime winners now. And now the city is just losing their mind. They're excited. I think for the most part, they see this as a very tight series still, though, that it could go either way. But there's the confidence that the Oilers now, 2 out of the next 3 in this best of 3 that we're going into now are at home in Edmonton. And the question is, are the Oilers going to lose at home again? Like that, for the Panthers to win this, they have to take 1 in Edmonton, and are they going to do it where the Oilers have already lost 1 at home? Now, if there's a team that can maybe go do it, it is the Panthers. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be angry. They're going to be coming into Edmonton tomorrow, annoyed of that 3-goal lead that they blew. Oh, yeah. Because ultimately, if the Oilers go win this cup, the Panthers will have to live with the fact that they were up 3-0 in Game 4, and that's going to be the moment they'll sit there and be like, "That's where we lost this." But here in the city of Edmonton, everyone is. The moods are very high. We'll just say that. And it's a perfect way to start a Friday.
They should be. What did Maurice have to say after the game last night? He's always reminding everyone that he's the smartest guy in the room. Was he a little shorter and quicker and to the point after the game last night, I'll bet?
I didn't see much of him. I did see some comments, and he was well-spoken again. Like, I don't think he wasn't short or anything. But he's also a guy that I think in this moment, with it being so close to the end, he's not going to want to show any sweating from his end. No. I think he's going to go about it and just deal with it. What will be fascinating is, like, they fly here today and then the game's tomorrow. There is no 2-day break between games.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this one interesting. I don't know who that favors in this case, but the break is over for that one. We'll have the break between 5 and 6 and between 6 and 7, but between 4 and 5 there isn't one. So it'll be fascinating to just see, the Oilers coming back home, getting their own bed versus the Panthers coming into a hotel, not getting a practice day really, unless they maybe choose to practice down in Florida before they fly out. I didn't see what's going on. We'll see.
I doubt it. I mean, at this point in the playoffs,
yeah,
Like they're not working on anything new. I doubt it. They might do a little extra video. But as I was saying, the amount of bad takes, and I don't know what it is by some people in the media. It's like a competition to get out there first and declare a team dead or over. But like Biz last night, Oil got nothing. They have no room. Anaconda chokehold. Game over. That one did not age well. And then even in your own market, our old buddy Speck.
What did he say?
Come on, Speck. Have we not seen this team come back before? Here it was. This is probably from the first period last night. Where are we here? It was, oh no, sorry. Oh, don't tell me he erased it.
Oh, I don't like when people do that.
Come on.
Do you remember kind of what it said?
Yeah, epic choke job. Epic choke job by...
Oh, here it is. 2 words to describe it, folks. Choke job.
Yeah, and then just like the comments.
Hey, you want to know something? It works. If you don't look at the timestamp, you can sit there and say the Panthers epic choke job in that one. So I guess it kind of still works.
Exactly.
That one works.
It was.
When you see 7:02 timestamp for Edmonton, then it's like, oh no, that was about the Oilers. But if you don't look at that one, he was just calling it for the Florida Panthers. It's funny though, because like I remember the LA series games 3 and 4. The Oilers did not look good through 40 minutes. And there was comments just within the press box of like, these Oilers team, they're awful. It's over. It's over. And I remember I was saying like, it's not. And even this last game here in Edmonton in game 2, when the Oilers were going into the third period and they were down, and it's like, wow, they're just not looking good. And the only thing I can go to is like, have we not seen this before? Have we not learned anything from this Edmonton Oilers team? They love to make things difficult for themselves. They love to be pushed up against the wall and then try to fight. They don't want to fight first. They want to be in that corner and then go, okay, let's see if we could, get out of this. They want to dig that hole. It's almost like they're sick-minded in a sense, and they want to dig a hole as deep as possible until they go, can we get out of this hole now? Like, or should we dig a little bit more and then try to get out? They're always going to fight to come back. And as I said, like until that final buzzer goes, or until they're down like 4 goals with 5 minutes left type thing, do not count the Edmonton Oilers out. Like I had our intern, him and I did the lock shop on Friday together. And I'll throw this one to Huss. From the outside watching this Edmonton Oilers team with games 5, 6, 7, what's the deficit the Oilers need to head into a third period with? And I'll just go in the third period where you think, okay, this might not be their night. They won't come back.
You put it this way. To get me to fire out Biz or Spec-like takes on Twitter announcing that it is done, it's 4 goals.
Yes.
It's third period, and I'm probably waiting till like 7 or 8 minutes in. I mean, as I say, there's no race, in my opinion, to put dirt on the body. And like, have we not watched this team? Do we not realize the guys that they're rolling out right now? Does the name Draisaitl ring a bell? Connor McDavid? Like, you are insane to write those guys off after a first period, 3 goals. I mean, listen, it is incredible that it's the first 3-goal comeback in Cup final history, but it's not that incredible when you look at, this team. Now, doing it against the Panthers makes it that much more impressive, but I don't know. It ain't over till it's over. And in this series, more than any we've maybe ever seen, you got to wait till that final buzzer's gone, the final goals across the net. And that's why we're at 2-2 with the best of 3 with the Oilers with the home ice.
And just a fantastic series. Both teams are so close. But and Oiler fans are going to hate me for what I'm about to say here. But this is how I just see the rest of the series playing out. The Oilers are going to be down a goal late in the third period. They're going to tie it. They're going to go win it in overtime. No, they're going to lose in tomorrow's game because their backs have to be against the wall. And they need to be down 3-2. And then they're going to go to Florida. And in the third period, they're going to be down. And everyone's going to think that cup's being awarded. The cup's going to get out of the box. It's going to be on the stand. They're going to tie it. They're going to go win it in overtime. It's going to come here for game 7. And maybe in that game, they come off to a hot start or something. But they're going to fall down 3-2 just because the Oilers want to make things difficult. And they want to come out. So that's just who they are. But just this season, we're different from last year in that sense. They get it done. And they get it done way more often than not. And yeah, like for a Spec or anyone in the Edmonton market specifically, you should have learned. We've been watching 4 rounds of this. We know what this team's going to do. So it's going to make for a final series that's going to be great. Did you jump on in 7 to start at the start of the series?
Yeah. I've got a bet on just series to go over 6.5 games. And my pick was Oilers in 7, so I've got that as well. So yeah, no, I mean, these teams are too good to have this one end right away. And I think, we saw the Florida Panthers sort of steal one in game 2 in Edmonton. The job was pretty clear. The Oilers had to do the same thing. That's exactly what they did last night. We're back on serve, and we got game 5 tomorrow night. And I mean, listen, yesterday, as we talked about, Oilers were more than a 2-1 dog in the series. You wake up this morning, they're back to being a slight favorite. They're a slight favorite in game number 5 as well. So squad's in a pretty good position right now. 2 things I have to ask you, though.
Okay.
And this is sort of funny, and I'm sort of guilty of this. We said, well, listen, if the Oilers win, it's hard to imagine anyone other than McDavid winning the Conn Smythe. I mean, this is probably Draisaitl's to lose now, right? If they win? Two winners in the Cup final?
I think so. I think the case now is that it's Leon Draisaitl takes the Stanley or the Conn Smythe. The Oilers go win this. Like
I'm seeing he's a slight favorite over McDavid. Bennett is still the favorite, which is interesting.
Well, then that's my assumption. They're then thinking the Panthers are winning at that point. There's no way Bennett is winning the Conn Smythe if the Oilers win. I don't 100%. Think this is a year the loser gets a Conn Smythe.
No. Connor was just that good last year, and the Panthers were so deep. No, you're exactly right. But
I'm trying to see the point. So now it's overall playoff points, I guess I have to find.
Yeah.
So what are we sitting at? Because they're also really close in that, if I'm not mistaken. They're tied in points, 32-32. Leon's got 11 goals. He's second in the playoffs in terms of goals. This is wild. Tied for third in goals in these playoffs is Corey Perry. Like, who would have imagined that? It's... unless Connor goes off in the next 2 games with 4 points and Leon's only sitting at like a point in those games, Leon's the guy that's gonna take the Conn Smythe should the Edmonton Oilers go pull this off. What is wild is the fact that, Calvin Pickard's now 7-0 in these playoffs.
Okay. Pickard. A lot of happy people in Winnipeg for Pickard here. He's obviously going to get the start on game 5, right? I know Knobloch hasn't said it, but I mean,
Knobloch today said, Knobloch today said that no decision. You can't go back to Skinner. Just like that's hockey. We know that Skinner would have lost. He was on pace to lose 3 straight, and now no one's blaming Skinner for yesterday. That was one of those. They could have been worse. It could have been 4 or 5-0 for the Panthers after 1. That was a pull of, boys, you got to be better in front of your goalie. So here we have to make this goalie change. But when you have a goalie that's 7-0, when you have a goalie that played as well as Pickard did coming into the game last night in a presser situation, and it's 3-1, 3-2, if the Panthers score that 4-2, that's probably a backbreaker. But Pickard didn't let that one in. I think you have to go back to Pickard. And then it's one, I know some other fans don't want to go into this battle. They want to just keep the positivity going. I wonder, do we see how does Stuart Skinner get back in the net? Like, how does Skinner get back in the net? If Pickard wins this and they lose a game 6, do you go to a Skinner in game 7? Do you stick with a Pickard? I think if they lose tomorrow, you're probably going back to Skinner for a game 6. But there's a really, I would say it's probably like a 75% chance right now that the Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup. Calvin Pickard's going to be the guy in net.
I guess. I mean, listen, there's only a max of 3 games left in this series. And if they win the Cup, that means they're winning 2 of them. And I would suggest the most likely scenario is them winning game 5 at home and then one of those next two games. So if he wins game 5, they're going to run back with him.
But then if they lose game 6,
well,
that's a big question then if you're Chris Knoblauch.
It's just such a bizarre scenario to be 2 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup and have genuine uncertainty as the goaltending position.
You don't know who would be the game 7 starter. Like, it is wild. But, hey, you want to the other way you could look at it if you're Chris Knoblauch with the Oilers is that you're happy with whatever chance goalie you put out there because you feel like you have a chance to win. And that Calvin Pickard is 7-0. But if you have to go to Skinner, like he has had a great run in these playoffs, and it wasn't his fault of why you're pulling him from that game, that you still have the confidence. But also, if things don't go well right away, you could always go back to Pickard. Like, you have good confidence in both goalies. So it's going to be fun in this city tomorrow. One more week of this to go. And then it's either a parade time or a little bit of sorrow, but it's fun being around the city of Edmonton right now. I'll tell you that much.
So game 5's tomorrow, Saturday night, 2 days off, game
Tuesday?
6 Tuesday, and game 7 would be Friday night.
Yeah. The city, if they win in a game 7, it's a full weekend of a party.
Well, full weekend. Try. And that will be the official kickoff. That's a party that's going to last all summer.
Yeah.
2 months.
But it's
June
one
20th?
like you think about what a Friday, like no one has to for sure go to work almost the next day, like the most people, like, and it's
and
then you still got the Sunday off, so you could do it all Saturday night too and rest on the Sunday. It worked out quite nicely, the schedule in that regard as well. And then look, if I just don't know if the flight would work with the party in Florida if they were. But if the Oilers were to win the game on Tuesday, Elks home opener's on the Thursday. Is there a chance that the Cup could be at Commonwealth Stadium when the Elks take to would the Oilers be able to get that done with the Elks? Would the Elks be able to find a way, like the Oilers hoisted in 6, hypothetically, if that one happens? Could they have some Oilers come out at the start of that game and they get the nice big reception before whenever, like that parade? If the Oilers win on Tuesday, the parade should be just on Friday, just in general. It's the start of the weekend. Let everyone have that one. But people could come out and see the Oilers with the Cup for the first time, maybe at an official event with the Elks. Do need to get to this one because this came in early on the show when you popped on. Mark in the nasty chat. Where did it? Huss, baby. Helly, 150-1. How good was yesterday? Like, beyond the Bombers. And you talked about it at the end of the lock shop yesterday. And I know, with WST, it was because of the League 2, the coronation, if you will. But what was it like yesterday knowing that your boy, Vezina Hearts, capped off a solid regular season?
I mean, first things first, incredible. I mean, you guys have been kind of blessed with a lot of superstar players. For a lot of franchises, I mean, like, there's something really special about having one of your players, win the most valuable player in the entire 32-team league. It's never happened here before. There's never even had a finalist. So for Hellebuck to do it was awesome. Fans were fired up. But, I mean, for the lock shop, we have been talking about this and following this number all year long, really sort of dialing in on it after that hot start. But Mark had 150-1. There's a couple other 150s that I've seen out there, some hundreds. But even the 25s and the 20s that we were getting in late November all add up. And, especially doing this show with you guys in Edmonton, it was so much fun because it really was Draisaitl. It was Hellebuck. And then you had McKinnon at times or Kucherov. And following just that line movement through the last 6 weeks of the season was wild. And, I jumped on it again at plus 190 after Draisaitl got hurt. And it would just seemed like it took a little bit of time for it to change. And like a day after that plus 90 was out there, Hellebuck was minus 110 and Draisaitl was plus 150. So it was the accounts of many Jet fans, WSTers, and lock shoppers are looking pretty good today. But Mark, I mean, 150-1, that is That is the best that we have seen yet. And shout out to everyone that jumped on those. And thank you, Connor Hellebuck. Now, only one more trophy to win. Dare to Dream. It's the one you guys have the opportunity to win with 2 more wins.
It is just wild, though, like with the voting this year. And I will never go after players because they know the game better than I'll ever know the game. Just how different, though, the finalists of the Hart Trophy versus the Ted Lindsay were this year. And like, I'm just trying, like, I don't know how it's not too often you have different winners.
You know, I'll be honest, I haven't even seen the Ted Lindsay.
Oh, it went to Kucherov. And Hellebuck wasn't even a finalist, nor was Leon. It was McKinnon, McCarr, and Kucherov were the finalists for the Ted Lindsay.
Huh. Interesting.
I know that was why with like that one came out. I was like, that's very weird. And then the Hart was McKinnon the third guy? I think McKinnon, Leon,
yeah,
and
by like a point.
Hellebuck. Yeah. So and I'm just trying to quickly see if I can see when the last time even the Hart and Ted just had a different winner in general. And 17-18, Taylor Hall won the Hart and Connor McDavid won the Ted Lindsay. Prior to that, I think 10 and 11, Daniel Sedin won the Ted Lindsay. Corey Perry won the Hart. So it's very rare that the Hart and the Ted Lindsay are different. And I'd have to go look at the finalists there, but it was a worthy season, and it was one that, like, if Connor Hellebuck didn't win it this year, I know there's a lot of people in Edmonton. There's a fair amount that still believe like maybe Leon should have won it. If Connor Hellebuck didn't win it this year, then you might as well just take goalies out of this conversation moving forward, because then no goalie should ever win it again. Like, it's nice to see that at times, yeah, a goalie does get rewarded because, you know, largely success does come from your crease. And the season Connor Hellebuck had was absolutely just incredible.
Yeah, like, listen, when we're defining most valuable player, I mean, I get it. You probably look at every team, and in reality, the goalie kind of is the most valuable player, because if he sucks, you're done. But in this context for the Hart Trophy, you're exactly right. I mean, if a performance this year without anybody kind of running away with a, you know, elite McDavid type level season, if Hellebuck didn't win it this year, just tell us the goalies aren't allowed to win. And they had in the past. I mean, it was a stronger season with better numbers than the Price year, than the Theodore year. I mean, you really have to go back to Hasek when Hasek was winning it for, you know, comparable numbers and domination in all of the stats. So, listen, he deserved it. But I will say this, it was, and this is part of the reason why I think we like the bet so much, is that, you know, a lot of, like, listen, if McDavid has his best season, he's winning it. I mean, that's just the way it is, because he's the best player on earth. But combination of McDavid missing a little bit of time, a little bit of a slow start, the Oilers really being focused about the postseason, all regular season as well. No one else having that superlative season, although all should have gotten consideration. It was sort of the perfect storm for him to get that done. And, you know, listen, goalies will still be very rarely even up for this award, but the way things broke this year and the numbers he was able to put up for the 82 games, a worthy guy. I see Smitty Rooney. I got on it at 23-1. Thanks, Huss. Phyllis got in there as well. Phyllis says, wasn't Kuch there for Hart?
I looked it up. It was Kucherov.
It was literally 1 point between those two guys. So for all intents and purposes, a dead heat.
I want to get to US Open here a little bit. JJ Spawn, has he started his round yet? Yeah, he's on the course now, even through 2. Yeah. We'll get to the US Open, but quickly, I just want to, looking at the CFL, Als tonight still -5.5. Riders -3.5 for the game against the Ticats. It has been a change with the Stampeders and Argos. Yesterday, the Stamps were the underdog. It was plus money on the money line. It was minus, I think, 2 or -1 or something right now, or a +2 or 1. Right now, the Stamps are -1 and the favorites on the money line against the Argos, with the news that also Chad Kelly for sure won't be playing. But that gives some value for that game tonight if you're able to jump on that throughout the week at any point in the Block Shop Partner Parlay. Still up, +580. Als to win by 6 tonight. Stamps just to win tomorrow. And the Riders Ticats to go over 51.5. That is +580. Huss, US Open. Right now, 8 guys are under par on their tournament. That is it. Projected cut right now at +5 as we continue on this day. What have you made of what we've seen out at Oakmont?
Well, first off, yesterday, man, for anyone that was with me on the Sam Burns first round leader bet, it looked so good. And then he went bogey, double bogey. And I thought that was sort of, maybe going to be, oh, well, he was up on the leaderboard for a bit. He faded. Sam Burns came back with a 65 today, 5 under par. He is in the clubhouse at 3 under. Just an absolutely incredible round. And Victor Hovland, who was really sort of up and down yesterday, Vic shot 2 under today and has put himself in a great spot. And how about Adam? Well, Adam Scott was even yesterday. He's got to 1 under after a birdie on 1. I do expect reality to hit JJ Spawn. I mean, I'm not expecting him to be at the top of the leaderboard after this round, but I guess we'll see. And then Tristan Lawrence and Siwoo Kim. I don't know if you caught Siwoo's interview after yesterday. They said, so how are things? Really good round. And he's like, I'll be honest, I don't even know what I'm doing out there. This is the hardest course I've ever seen. And then you look and he shot 68. So, I mean, the best in the world are being really tested today. The guys that I think have come off it a little bit, Brooks Koepka, who had that great finish yesterday. Brooks was 4 over today, but he still sits in a really nice spot at 2 over par. John Rahm, though. John Rahm, 5 over today after a really nice first round of -1. He sits at +4. Morikawa was 4 over. He's also at +4. And Scotty Scheffler 1 over for +4. So, I mean, Sam Burns is going to have a 7-shot lead over that group, although a 7-shot lead can realistically blow up in a couple holes on this course. Nothing is safe. But I'm really interested to see rounds this afternoon, like Tom Kim. He's getting out there. He's birdied so far. Keegan Bradley is just coming out. I got a Bradley piece at 66-1, so it would be very nice to see him have a good round. But guys like Scotty, Rahm, all those dudes, they're going to be there on the weekend. Tomorrow's going to be a fascinating moving day, though, because there's danger awaiting on every tee box. But if you can put together a steady round and keep the big disasters to a minimum, I think there's a chance that just by not doing that, other guys will. And I don't know, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to see what happens. The carnage at Oakmont as it continues today.
It's why I truly love the U.S. Open. I hate, like, I know the golfers hate it and they rip on it all the time, but it's like once a year, it's okay to be, humbled a little bit if you're the pro golfers. Yes. Once a year, it's okay to be challenged hard, like completely in the craziest ways. Like, I'm actually very sad that Chambers Bay back in 2015 has changed their course. I would have loved for them to have gone back to that Chambers Bay because that was just carnage throughout that entire round where Dustin Johnson had 3 putts to win or 2 putts to win. And he couldn't even get it done. And Spieth won and the leaderboard was all over the place. And I'm okay once a year for these guys to just have to deal with it where they're walking off that course and going, I don't even know what's going on out here. Like, it's okay. When it comes to the 4 majors, you got the PGA Championship where you could put up in big numbers. You got the Masters, which is just very prestigious. And then you got the British Open or the Open Championship, which is weather dependent generally. And it's got that link style. And it's just, I love the US Open. I love that the USGA has not succumb to the criticisms of the players too much, where they've tried to make things a little easier for them, that they every year go, yeah, okay, cool, you're going to complain. They feed off the tears almost.
Yes, 100%. Now, you know what's really interesting? I'm just looking. So the cut is the top 60 plus ties. Now, right now, the 5s are tied for 59th. Now, there's a bunch of guys that are at 4 that haven't teed off yet. So, I don't think it's going to get lower. I don't think it's going to go to +4. But with the amount of players, which is all the way to 75, so you basically got 15 players at +5. I don't know if it's going to get to +6. Well, anything's possible on this track with the amount of guys that still have to play this afternoon. But we're probably looking at a +5. Best case scenario for these guys, +6 cut right now. So there's a lot of players that are right in that mix. Some of them starting their round in that area right now. And to figure it out. Like my guy Tony, was a disaster yesterday at 6 over. He was 3 under for his round. He's given a couple back, but like he's 1 under for his round. He's +5. You stay at +5, you're going to be playing on the weekend, but there's not a lot of wiggle room as you get down to those final couple holes.
Rory McIlroy, first hole, +2, double bogeyed. He's now at +6. He's below the cut line with 17 holes to go. He might want to give back that Toronto Maple Leafs jersey to Keith Pelley and MLSE. It's been a disaster over the last week and a bit for him, and he might want to take back the fact that the Leafs, maybe they could go in the cup. Don't be associated with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Rory.
I saw them give him that jersey. Obviously, I was there that day at Osprey last weekend, or a week ago today, I guess. And then checking the phone after he blew up, he had the quad on the 5th hole, and Rory, it shows his scorecard. Coincidentally, he was given this today, and he's holding the Leafs jersey, and everyone just piled on from there.
Good. It's Canada's championship. It's not the Leafs event. They need to give him a Leafs jersey. Give him a Canadian jersey, if anything, or give him a Raptors and Blue Jays jersey when there is no other hockey team, those teams in our country. Actually,
they should have given him a Four Nations Canada jersey.
Exactly. You won the Masters. Here, we won the Four Nations. Here, I have a Canadian jersey. I haven't asked you about this, and I don't know your thoughts on this. Just the NHL this week, it seems like, it's getting closer that we'll get to more expansion within the next 5-6 years. Atlanta might be back. Phoenix, we always keep hearing that they'll be back, and then they might be as high as 36 teams eventually, where maybe New Orleans is in this and Houston's in this. But what do you make of this, the league potentially maybe making its way back to Atlanta?
I mean, listen, it's kind of funny. I mean, they've done this twice already. And listen, I'm happy they did it for a second time, because otherwise my life would be very different. We probably don't have an NHL team, and we're not talking about Winnipeg Jets 2.0. I mean, as a city and a market, I mean, I get why the NHL wants to be there. I mean, it's one of the biggest cities in metropolitan areas. There's a ton of money down there. Maybe things have changed, and it's, hockey's bigger now, and with the success of some of these other teams, it just never seemed to really be a fit down there. Like, I can't really speak to the Atlanta Flames originally becoming Calgary, but I mean, the Thrashers went in there to that Phillips Arena and never really did much. I mean, they had
one good season, and I think they got knocked out in the first round.
I think they got swept.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever won a playoff game.
I believe you're right.
And the funny thing was, if you recall the year, that was the year they traded a first, second, and a third to St. Louis for Keith Tkachuk. He came in, they get bounced, and then Tkachuk goes right back to St. Louis and signs as a free agent in the offseason. Some pretty good business by that team. But yeah, listen, I think Houston is, to me, a slam dunk. I mean, if they have the right ownership, I mean, that is maybe the third or fourth biggest city. I mean, it's just a massive area. Yeah. I think they can handle it. I'm partial to Kansas City. They've got a rink that's ready to go. Obviously a smaller market. And listen, I know people will bring up Quebec. I mean, listen, with the Canadian dollar where it is right now, and the real question as to whether there's corporate money there. I mean, listen, would I love to see it? Absolutely. I just don't have any indication. Like, they're looking for massive checks for these franchises, and they're looking to put them into locations that they feel like, they'd be able to tap into much bigger TV markets and all that. And the one that we haven't mentioned is probably the one that makes the most sense if they get legitimate ownership in an arena, is Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that mess was entirely mismanagement, terrible ownership, terrible placement of that arena. Mark my words, if that was in Scottsdale, if they got a great spot to play, there's no doubt in my mind that would be a well-supported team, much like we're seeing like with the Tampas and the Floridas right now. So I don't think we need more teams. I mean, listen, there's 32 enough. Like, I don't think you need to water down this product. But I mean, what's a McDavid going to be able to do against some expansion team with a bunch of guys that might not be at that level? Like, it could be crazy. It could be good for points and all that, but 32 is a pretty big league.
I know. And it always, it was just weird. Like, the NBA is 30, MLB is 30. Like, how does the NHL believe they go to 36? From a talent perspective, I don't like it. But from a U.S. market perspective, the NHL outside of those other leagues has 7 Canadian markets right now. So there's a lot of American markets that aren't tapped, which would allow them to get up there to match MLB and NBA. I said this a couple days ago on the Hangout. At least if it goes to Atlanta, I think that's Quebec City's shot of getting a team, because it went to Calgary, it went to Winnipeg. You'll go to Quebec City. So congratulations, Quebec City. 20 years from now, you have a team. I also do believe, though, if the NHL wanted to get an 8th team in Canada, and this will annoy people, but business perspective, GTA needs a 2nd team. If you were to add another team in this country and properly get the money there, it is Toronto. There's a lot of people there that aren't from Toronto. A lot of people that there don't like the Leafs, and giving them their own team, that's where you would get the biggest money. Now, we'd have to hear from 2 Toronto teams from TSN and Sportsnet, which would suck. I think the Leafs would fight against that. I think the Sabres would fight against that as well. But from a Canadian perspective, like, if they truly wanted to get the most bang for their buck, the biggest value, it would be a 2nd team in the GTA. The GTA, they could support it, no question.
The money's there. I do wonder where like that team would play, like in the core, or would it be like outside? Because there's so many, like that area is so big, population wise. But I mean, it really is spread out. Now, there's a lot of density. There's the history of like downtown Toronto. That's where the Leafs play. I mean, we have heard like many plans when this has been floated out for buildings that would be set up in, 45 minutes, an hour away, but serving a whole massive area of people that frankly, it's difficult to get downtown to see the Leafs. So I don't disagree with it. It would be, it would give us lots to talk about. The haters would be out. And listen, a rivalry, I mean, it's always cool when the Mets and the Yankees play, right?
Yes, it is. And, you've got the 3 New York teams already right now. You've got the 2 LA market teams. It's Toronto would be the one market that would be able to do it. Huss, what's coming up on WST today? I'm sure a lot of reaction to the Bombers' big 1-0 start to the season after dominating the Lions yesterday.
Yeah, this should be a real fun one today. Full reaction from last night's big Bomber win. Jeff Hamilton's going to jump on. We'll kind of dive into that. And then, we'll put Connor Hellebuck's season into some context. Ken Weeb's going to jump on with us and dive into that. We'll be paying attention to the U.S. Open. Oh, my guy Xander Schauffele has started birdie and got back to even right now. The X-Man announcing himself has arrived, and that gets him all the way to 9th. Only 8 players in red numbers right now, and Xander's right there. Hacksaw's going to jump on. We'll do some marbles. We'll kick off the weekend. It's Friday on WST coming up in about 7 minutes.
So that means marble races too, right?
You absolutely jump in there. I
did it a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna have to. I just got in the last in the wire, so I'm gonna have to try to remind myself to get in there for today. Marble races coming up on WST. Huss, have a wonderful weekend. You'll be on with Dusty next week.
Right back at you. Oh, quickly on the way out, I did hear you talking before you brought me in. Canada plus 550 to win the Gold Cup. We got to get a piece of that, right? Like, why is USA under 2-1? They're terrible.
It's always in the U.S., so they get the home field advantage, I guess, if you will. But they're not playing well. I'd say after Mexico, Canada is the next best chance to go win the Gold Cup. Straight up. Plus 550.
I'm going to get in on that. And is it the Honduras game on the weekend or next week?
Tuesday. I was in Vancouver, and I was hoping to go fly out there, but it's Oilers Game 6. I'm like, well, can't go do that one. World Cup next year. I'll be there.
Tough scheduling.
Have a good one,
Have a great
Huss.
weekend, pal.
There's Huss, WST. Go check him and Remus out. Coming up in 6 minutes time, which is 1 o'clock Central, noon here in Edmonton. And they do that marble race, which it's a lot of fun. Jump in. I learned how to do it too. And you just, even if you don't know when you get in the nasty or their version of the nasty chat, just look what everyone else is posting, copy and paste, and you'll go into the marble race. It is a great time. Coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk, we got the Oil Stream, Tommy and Reed. We've got EST Afternoons. We've got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. We'll join the Stingers live in action just after 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, we have Hello Hockey at 10 o'clock. We got the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows. Pre-game show starting at 4:30, and then we got the VIP Golf Show at 8 a.m. on Sunday. And a reminder, those promo codes with Play Alberta, who proudly present both the Lock Shop and Edmonton Sports Talk, EST Casino, EST Sports when you deposit 20 or more, and they'll get you either a $50 casino play or a $50 free bet. YEG50 when you deposit 5 or more for a $50 free sports bet. Just click on EST specials. We got a lock shop partner parlay going for the CFL for the 3 remaining games. We got Jay's play of the day, the early bird bet, Dusty's play, and he's out on the golf course. Big Uke did message me the silliest goose parlay along with grandest parlay. Boys and gals, I will get that sent to Play Alberta once I am done here on the Lock Shop. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. On behalf of us, I am Matt. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Game 5 tomorrow between the Oilers and the Panthers. That series tied at 2 games apiece. Up next, it is the Oil Stream right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Don't go anywhere.